After an extensive review by the National School of Government in the United Kingdom, Chief Executive of the Public Service Martin Stanley and the Public Services Commission, several changes in government departments have been made official, in particular as it relates to permanent secretaries. Clara Gardner, after years of holding the position permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, is now the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Border Control and Labor, which is a newly established ministry that will bring together the frontline services of customs and immigration. Beatrice Fulford, after years of holding the permanent secretary post in the Ministry of Housing, Works, Telecommunications and Public Safety, is now the PS in the Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture. Mary Harvey, who was previously the Undersecretary in the Ministry of Natural and Coastal Resources, is now the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Environment and District Administration. Denise Saunders, previously Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health and Human Services, is now the PS in the Ministry of Home Affairs and Public Safety. Judith Campbell, after years of holding the permanent secretary post in the Ministry of Natural and Coastal Resources, is now the PS in the Ministry of Health and Human Services. Susan Malcolm is the permanent secretary in the Office of Public Service Management. Arthur Bean is now in the Ministry of Trade, Tourism and Communications as acting permanent secretary. The new ministry will bring under one roof the responsibility for the three major economic drivers of the Turks and Caicos economy. Derek Bean, after years in the Ministry of Home Affairs and Immigration, has been transferred to the Ministry of Works and Housing, and Permanent Secretary Delton Jones remains the PS in the Ministry of Finance. Kingsley Bean, who was previously head of the Tourist Board office in New York, is now the permanent secretary in the governor's office. And Executive Permanent Secretary Dr. Hugh Fulford is expected to officially retire within a few months. Backers behind the transformation said that the new phase was embarked on to help provide more proficient and effective public services, and as a part of this process, new permanent secretaries have been assigned to nearly all ministries. For WIV4 News, I'm Nikira John.